Is it running now?
Yep.
It is. Okay. Let's pause it for a tick.
Oh, I should have brought a remote for it. Where's my pause button? There.
Okay. To prime the machine, the on-off switch is off. The drain valve position is facing down towards the bucket, so the material is going to pick up through the pump and drop it back through the drain, the return tube, which is called the return drain hose. Pull your cap off the base of the pickup tube, pop that into your material. The machine's still off. It's a good idea to remove this so you don't get material going up inside the return tube. Because the material dries up inside the drain tube, you're not going to get the machine primed because it actually can't return out of the pump. Okay, so the machine's off, so the machine on with the pressure control down, so the machine doesn't start up accidentally. Drain valve's pointing to the ground still, and you just turn the machine up to the first. And you can see the material coming out through the return tube, and at that stage you get a good flow coming out through the return tube. Turn your machine down, and the machine is primed, so you've pulled all the water, all the air out of the pump, and it's ready to prime, and you're ready to start spraying. Okay, and it is advisable to. I always advise to have a separate bucket. Have that in there so your material actually doesn't dry up inside your return tube. Okay. So rather than full of water, rather than sticking it into your paint drum, and then your hoses get all clogged up, and you end up with a suction tube and a return tube that looks like that instead of that size. So I'll put that out to that side. So once the machine is primed up, you're getting a good flow through your return tube. Turn your pressure down again to stop it from running, and then turn your drain valve to the front of the machine. The arrow is then pointing to the front, which is diverts the pressure, the paint from your drain hose to your paint hose. And at that stage, then you simply turn your pressure back up again, and on the dial, you can see the pressure starting to increase there. Okay, and it's now sitting at 620 psi. You can normally spray at 1800 to 2000 psi. Okay, and at that stage, in the machine, you'll have a little bit of air in the line. So the machine, I won't run it up because it doesn't need the 1800 psi. 900 psi is enough to atomise the water that we're testing at the moment, and it's as simple as that. Once you get it to the right the spray pressure, spray out your job. If at that stage, when you do set your pressure, there's a watchdog setting on the side of the machine. So if you do run out of paint in your bucket, it'll actually automatically turn your machine off, so it won't run away on itself and do damage to yourself. So that's in the off position at the moment, which is in the clean mode. So you can turn that on, and therefore on the screen there it says WD on. So it tells you you have watchdog protection on the pump, and the machine will not run away on itself. Okay, so once that's set, you go away and spray, happily spray, and at the end of the day, turn your pressure down. What you're going to do is release the pressure out of the machine now, turn the pressure down on the machine, turn the spray tip into the clean mode, and spray it back into your bucket to release the pressure out of the machine until such time as you find, you just pause it, as you find 4 dots onto the screen. Once the 4 dots appear on the screen, then you can release with the trigger pulled into your bucket. You can then open the drain valve, ready for the cleaning operation. Okay, if you just pause it there.
Yep.
Right. Okay. So
action.
Once the drain valve, you've opened the drain valve, you have no pressure in the machine by the 4 dots on there. So we're going to change the material from the paint to the wash bucket. So enabling you to do that, you pull this lever up on the back of the machine, which helps you to drain the material out of the suction tube, and then allow it to drain away, and then change your bucket over from your paint material, which I'll swap over now, to your cleaning material. Now what we're going to do is chase the material through the hose to save the hose, where you can give the hose to the client that's in the hose, which you've got about 400 mils of paint in the hose. So at that stage, your drain valve's already pointing to the ground, and your return tube, which is basically back into your slops bucket, we call it the slops bucket. You would then need to slightly reprime the machine for 30 seconds, or for 3 seconds, to ensure that you get rid of your airlock in your pump. Okay, so again, your drain valve is pointing to the ground. All you have to do is basically turn the machine on until it starts up, and it primes up. Okay, so you've got full water coming out through your drain hose. You can leave that in your slots bucket. Now you can redirect the machine, the fluid pressure, back through your hose, and chase the material out of the hose that you've got in there for your client, in order to save your material. So in your paint bucket or in a spare jar, you then again have the tip in the clean position at the facing in the opposite direction you would to spray. Back into your bucket, pull the trigger on, and slowly increase your pressure. And that will then push your material out through the machine. If you want to do it a bit quicker, you can take the tip housing, I like that, tip housing off the gun, throw your tip housing and your tip into the bucket of water, and that'll help you start cleaning it up. Now at this stage, this is where you would turn your pump protection off, because otherwise the machine will actually turn off when you pull the trigger on. So you turn your watchdog off, pull your trigger on, and chase the material out back into your bucket until you see a slight hesitation in your material, like that. So therefore, you've got now pure water coming through your system. That slight hesitation in there was the material, between the material and the water, chasing it through the hose. Okay, so at that stage you will then go through and clean up your tip housings, your tips and your tip seals, and make sure that in the back of the tip you don't have any material left in the back of the tip, because it will break off eventually when you go to use it the second time, and you'll end up with excessive tip blockages in the machine, in the back of the tip. With these new tips, also to put the tip into the housing, you have a square notch on the face of the tip there, and the square face on the edge of the tip housing. It's got to go in that way, and it locks in, so you actually can't pull the tip out. And if you try to put it in any other way, it actually won't fit in. So it must go in at 90 degrees, turn it around, and then you turn it around to clean the tip out if it does get a tip blockage. So if you want to stop there, okay, to remove on the black tips, there is no locking device on there, so you can actually put that in any direction, insert that in there. To get the tip seal out, if it is leaking around the back of the housing here, to get the tip out, you use the pointy end of the tip to push the tip seal out through the back end, and you get the tip out like that, instead of finding a stick or a screwdriver. So the tip is the tool in all the cases. To get the tip seal back into the housing, and the difference between the black and the red on the tip housings is on the ridge, on the new style tips, it's got the ridge around the outside of the rubber seal on the back of the tip, and the old style has got a very flat tip seal on it. So that's the old style black tip, orange housing tip seal, and this is the blue ones, which is basically ribbed, and it's got a little less rubber in there. And to get the tip back into the tip housing, you place the tip seal on the end of the tip, which is again the tool, face the half moon shape upwards, have the tip housing facing upwards, and simply insert the tip seal like that and give it a twist and put your thumb into there, and again 90 degrees to the top of the tip housing, otherwise you cannot insert your tip into the housing. And that will be the same as the old style orange housing. So face the half moon up, face your tip housing facing up, and insert it and give it a half twist, your thumb inside and insert the tip, and basically ready to go. That's gonna, I mean, look, I do it. Accidents happen. So bloody, you'll be out here and the paint will flick over and you'll go.
Yeah, straight on the machine.
Straight on the machine.
Or you watch new car.
Yeah, that's it.
And blow a hose and it goes all over it. You go, oh no. So vegetable oil, spray on vegetable oil.
Yeah, spray on vegetable oil.
Okay.
You can then wipe the machine down, and then at the end of the beginning of the new week, just reapply it.
Okay.
Alright, so where were we? So we actually chased the material through the hose. Action. Done?
Yep.
Okay. Once you've chased the material out through the hose, you've got clean water in the hose, or thereabouts, clean water. The next stage is to clean your filters out. Okay, so again, making sure, because your drain valve is pointing to the ground, the gun has expelled the pressure out of the machine. You've got 4 dots across the screen, so you know that the machine is safe and there's no pressure in there, so you're not going to get material, paint coming out through the machine under pressure when you open this filter housing up. So the filter housing unscrews, hold, hand tight, no spanners. Pull that out. Should have been on top. That actually sits in there like that, so that'll actually sit in like that, so it should come out with the filter. Okay, it locks into the top of the housing, top of the handle. Okay, so that will simply pull off, chuck it in your bucket of water. Okay, screw that back onto there. At this stage, gun handle, take your guard off, hold the handle and twist the head of the gun. Filter pulls out, then chuck it in the bucket of water. Pop your gun back together. Tighten your gun up. You don't have to do that, but you can for this exercise. And at that stage, you're going to go into clean mode. You've got no filters in the gun or the housing, so you've got a free flow pump, and then you've got 2 choices. You can either run the auto clean, or you can clean it the old fashioned way, which is basically holding the gun open into your bucket of water. Again, primary mode, facing the drain, the pressure relief valve towards the hose, which is going to push the material out through the hose.